hip up.
All right, Jade and Bianca. What are the pros and what are the cons? Let's do that. The pros of this tag team is that it's good for Jade Cargill. It's good for Jade, right? She has learned from one of the best. Bianca Belair is one of the best in the world. What better person to learn from than Bianca? Bianca could bring her along, show her the ropes, get her comfortable with the WWE schedule and with the house shows. They get along well. It's great for Jade, right? Jade came into AEW, had that winning streak with those squash matches. This is something different. She comes in and she works with Bianca Belair in a tag team. She gets protected. She gets a belt right away. All of it from the Jade standpoint makes so much sense. You bring her along slowly. She has to watch Bianca Belair up close in the ring. From a Jade standpoint, it makes perfect sense to do this. It's brilliant if you're trying to bring Jade along. Pairing her with Bianca makes all the sense in the world. I can't deny that, all right? I can't deny it. It makes sense to start off her career. When Bianca came in, she had Bayley there. Now, Bayley was a feud for Bianca, right? But Bayley helped her come along. In this case, you have a partner in Bianca that's helping Jade come along. Same thing, same principle. It makes all the sense in the world for Jade Cargill to be working with Bianca Belair. And they're having fun, it seems. They're loving the time they're together, so that's all great, okay? So that's a positive. It's good for Jade, number one, right? Number two, positive, star power. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair are stars. Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair are out with injury. So you have a little vacuum of star power that's gone now. Well, if you put Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair together and you have them in a tag team, well, what does that mean? That means they can float to Raw and SmackDown and NXT. Because they are champions, they're not beholden to any specific brand, so they can float. You have them on Raw, you have them on SmackDown, and if you're a Bianca Belair fan or a Jade Cargill fan, you get to see them more on TV. That's great. Star power, showing up on Raw, showing up on SmackDown, showing up on NXT. Star power can float around and it can pop up anywhere. You can use that star power to elevate both brands. So you get Jade and Bianca on Raw and SmackDown. You gotta love it, right? If you're a fan of these two, you want to see Bianca, you want to see Jade, now they're champions, you get to see them on Raw and SmackDown, right? That is a plus. That's a pro. So one, it's good for Jade to bring her along. Two, they get to be on SmackDown and Raw. Both shows get Bianca and Jade. That's another positive, right? Third positive would be the visibility of the tag titles. Like, if you care about them being on big shows, they're not gonna not put them on the big shows, right? So when they have the belts, those belts will be shown on the big PLEs because they'll have matches. Because their star power is undeniable. You're not gonna leave them off of the big shows. That's a plus. If you care about the visibility of those tag titles, that's a plus. Is there another positive that I'm missing? I don't think so. I think those are the positives, okay? Good for Jade. They pop up on both shows, so their star power is going to be on both brands. And then the visibility of those tag titles, because they will then be able to show those tag titles on different shows and different PLEs. Maybe they go to Backlash, maybe they can go to Saudi. Big shows will have those tag titles being defended. Now, what are the negatives? I can only really think of one. It's the most important one by far. All the other reasons, the positive reasons, this one con trumps them all. It's the ultimate reason, the ultimate topic of discussion. It's bad for the tag team division. It trumps everything. Sorry, folks. This tag team together, it's bad for the tag team division. What do you mean it's bad? Will, what are you talking about? How can it be bad? You're taking two singles competitors. Bianca Belair is a singles competitor. Obvious, right? Jade Cargill is a singles competitor. Obvious, right? You're taking both these two singles competitors, you're smushing them together, create a tag team. And that tag team is now supposed to be elevating the division? In what way? How does that work? How? You know what's good for the division? Actual tag teams, actual rivalries, competition between real tag teams that you can create stories with that can then elevate the division. You put them in actual big PLEs, big stipulation matches, like TLC matches, ladder matches, and you elevate the division that way. This is not how you elevate the division, okay? What is the story? I ask you, what is the story for Jade Cargill and Bianca? What's the story? The story is, when are they going to break up? Am I lying? That's the storyline. When they become champions, the story is, when is it all going to fall apart? When is Bianca going to turn on Jade? When is Jade going to turn on Bianca? That's the story. The story isn't the rivalry between the Kabuki Warriors and Bianca and Jade, or the life of the party versus Bianca and Jade, or the unholy union. No, that's not the story. We all know where this is going. We know it's going towards a falling out of some sorts. This tag team is not for the long haul. It's not for the long road. It's a short-term thing until it all falls apart. We know this. We know this is not a legitimate tag team. So how can you say it's good for the division? It's not. What's good for the division, like I said, is actual storylines, actual rivalries between real tag teams. That's good for the division, not this. This is a short-term thing that's going to end with a betrayal or a falling out. We know this. Bianca and Jade need to end things quick, like Ronda and Shayna. I don't think it's going to end quick. I think it'll go for a few months. Nobody is beating this team clean. When they lose, it will probably be Bianca that gets pinned, not Jade. I don't think Jade will be pinned for a while. Bianca will get pinned. There'll be some type of betrayal, and that'll be it. Now, some may say, well, fine. At least we'll have Bianca and Jade in a feud. Oh, you poor, poor fools. You think Triple H is doing this feud this year? Oh, you poor, poor fools. Let me tell you what's going to happen. I could be wrong. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Bianca is going to be drafted to Raw. Probably. Jade Cargill is going to be drafted to SmackDown. Probably. Or vice versa. But I think Bianca will be on Raw. Jade will be on SmackDown. Why? That way, when they break up, they have to split. See what they're going to do? This is what they're going to do. The draft is Friday, right? They won't be tag team champions. Draft starts on Friday. Bianca gets drafted at Raw. Jade will be drafted to SmackDown. Oh no, they're going to break us apart. We have to win the tag titles. Because if we don't win the tag titles, we'll be split up. And then they go to Backlash. They win the tag titles. Once they win that Backlash, it doesn't matter where they're drafted, right? They get to travel on both shows. That's the thing. If they're both champions, they'll get to pop around, right? But the way they're going to get around them not feuding is by splitting them up once they lose the tag titles. If they're both drafted to different shows, they will have to split no matter what. And that's how you drag this thing out, right? That's how you avoid not doing the feud right away. People in the IWC that think that this feud is going to happen after they break up. No, sirree, I don't believe it. Don't fall for the trap. Triple H is going to split them up. I'll be shocked. I will be shocked if Jade and Bianca are drafted to the same show. They're going to split them up via the draft. Okay? They will not be drafted as a unit. They'll be drafted individually. Bianca will go to Raw, and then they'll be in a rush. So we have to win the tag titles now, because if we don't win the tag titles, they'll split us up. What are we going to do? Then they'll go to Backlash and win the tag titles, and then they'll be champions who float around together. When the big fallout happens, when Jade turns on Bianca, or Bianca turns on Jade, whatever happens, they will then split up, right? And that'll be a footnote in the storyline. We were tag team champions, but we can't actually do this feud now because we're on different shows. Then Jade will go chase Bayley, Bianca will go chase Rhea Ripley. And then down the road, whenever that happens, this will be a part of the story. Whenever they do the Bianca Jade storyline down the road, they'll say, oh, remember when we were tag team champions? You turned on me, I turned on you, whatever, but that's the storyline. I'll be surprised. Maybe I'll be wrong. But Bianca and Jade drafted to the same show, then they lose, and then they have to feud right away. Don't buy it, Chief. I don't buy it. Bianca, you're on Raw. Jade, you're on SmackDown. When you break up, you must go to your own individual brands. Now, what happens if they're on the same show after the draft? Well, then they have to do the feud, right? Nothing else makes sense. How can you delay it? Yeah, you can't delay it. If they're tag team champions and they break up while they're still on the same show, they have no choice but to do the feud. How can you avoid that? Everyone and their mother are going to be clamoring for these two to fight. If they're on the same brand, if they're not on the same brand, they can't feud because they're on different shows. So what can you do? There's nothing we can do about that, right? That's how Triple H is going to avoid doing this feud. That's how Big Nose is going to get out of it, all right? He's going to get out of it by drafting Bianca to Raw, and Jade will be on SmackDown. Book it.
Kip up!